Are you ready to step into worlds of possibility? Hear the voice of ancient wisdom in your ear and feel the tingle of magic on your fingertips? Then tune into Magick, Medicine and Mayhem, a weekly audible adventure, aka podcast, hosted by an energetic healer, writer and witch, Sylvia Florence. Find Magick, Medicine and Mayhem wherever you get your podcasts.
Darkcast Network, bringing our indie podcasts out of the shadows.
Hello, dear witches and beautiful souls. You are listening to episode 50, official 50, of the Bell Witch podcast, Witching in the 21st Century, with me, Swailes, a friendly green witch. It's been a bit of a turbulent ride for me since the last episode, I must admit. And unfortunately, I lost my little Snakey of nearly 20 years. I remember buying her in 2006. I think it was February time. I bought two babies together. They were little hatchlings, like two orange corn snakes. And her sister died pretty early on because she escaped and came back poorly. But Snakey lived a long, glorious life for her sister. And she's been with me, through weddings and deaths and house moves and children being born. So although I was preparing for it because she was an old lady, you never really can prepare that much. It hurts. It does hurt. Snakes are so important to me in my personal life and my witchcraft. They really are my spirit animal. And I've kept them for half of my life, like 20 odd years. It was Blue Monday. It was the most bluest Monday ever, but I can't help but notice that she shuffled off her mortal coil not only on Blue Monday, but also on the year of the snake. Therefore, I am dedicating this episode to my little Snakey. And if you are into snakes, or you'd like to hear a little bit about my snakes and magic of snakes, you can check out episodes 35 and 36, which have a snake theme running through them. The dual nature of snakes in mythology, which is quite a personal episode. And then there's the Moot Loot, what is Kundalini activation, and that also has lots about snakes as a theme. And now it's time to introduce today's episode, which is another Moot Loot with Genna all the way over in Australia. The theme is crystal magic, witching with crystals. It's a bit of a 101. Just general geeking out about why crystals are just so awesome. So yes, enjoy the show and show the Bell Witch podcast a bit of love by leaving ratings and reviews wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, Genna, and welcome to my little witchy podcast. How are you?
I'm really good, Swailes. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm feeling honoured and great to be here.
Cool, I'm just stoked that people from across the world want to come on my podcast. It's really cool. So do you want to introduce yourself and tell us all a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So I'm Genna. I'm a witch that lives in Sydney in Australia. It's nighttime at the moment. In terms of my witchy self, things that I absolutely love, I guess, would be crystals, my oracle cards, a bit of pendulum divination, and of course the moon as well. So those are just a few things on the witchy side. Otherwise, by day, work part-time as a receptionist at a chiropractic clinic, and really enjoying that and helping people along their health journeys. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
And are you a business witch, or are you a witch privately for yourself?
Just for myself mainly, and also branching out into helping, friends and family as well.
I've never been to Australia. I'd love to go down under. It boggles my brain that you have Samhain in the spring.
Yeah, and the fact that we have Yule, like, not at Christmas time.
Oh my word, that's just so weird.
Yeah, I know. Because I remember, like, celebrating, Yule this year with friends and just having a couple of them round and, looking at movies to pop on the list. And I'm like, so many of these movies are Christmas movies and I can't find them, in June.
A Christmas barbecue, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind a Christmas barbecue actually, but it's quite good.
They are quite good, must say.
So what's your area of expertise? Is it crystal magic, did you say?
Yes, yeah, crystals would definitely be, it was definitely the first branch of magic that I ever got into. And I've always loved crystals growing up. Like, my mum got me like a set from National Geographic of crystals, and I still got a lot of them today. And I'm actually doing a crystal healing course as well. And it's been really interesting sort of seeing how I can tie in what I'm learning in my course to, witchcraft and the healing side of it, because that's a really big part of it for me, especially whether it's doing healing work on myself or more for like friends and family. Yeah, it's really great to see how it all ties in together and sort of works. So yeah, I would say that, and this is going to sound really cliche, but my spirit crystal, I would say, would be rose quartz for sure, just because of that, that unconditional love energy, the fact that, it applies to, yourself, so self-love, friends, family, people that you don't know. It's just a really gentle stone, and I think for me personally, I really vibe with that energy, and because life can get really boisterous and things can sort of, especially if I'm in a bit of a creative high or anything like that, it's really good to have a stone that sort of is complementary to that and just has that real gentle, soothing energy. So that's one that I really love. Other ones that I really love working with are moonstone. Moonstone and selenite's really sort of tying into moon energy and that sort of thing. Like, selenite is my go-to aura cleanser. Like, I love to do it, on the weekend, sort of leading into a fresh week, sort of just doing an aura cleanse. And it's really great, charging other crystals, on like a plate or a bowl. Like, a bowl is one that I've got at home. Citrine I actually use, a lot as well. And what I love about it is it's one of the stones that, is associated with Bridget. And she, the Celtic goddess, and she's one that I've been working with for a number of months now. And so I've got, like, a couple of citrine tumbles on my little kitchen altar, to honor her. So that's sort of a way that I use citrine. So yeah, those will be the 3 or the 4 top ones that I sort of work with more regularly.
Rose quartz is a good old timer, isn't it? I mean, there's a reason why it's so popular, because it's so gentle. And I mean, I bath with rose quartz every week. It's such a good bath crystal for that moment when you just want to chill and not look at your phone and get right deep and relax.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of find as well, I've had many a time where, if I'm meeting someone for the first time, or like we've sort of connected a little bit, on Instagram or something, then we're meeting or whatever, like, I just love having just like a little tumble in my bag, just to, to help to calm the vibrations, if there's any nerves or anything, it sort of helps to calm down. So it's really helpful in terms of, bolstering friendships.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with quartz. I think quartz is a good all-rounders, aren't they? And the safest stone to do elixirs. I use a really big crystal quartz that I inherited from my mum to do Reiki. So, like, I draw and point the Reiki on the body with the big crystal quartz, and I absolutely love that gemstone. It's such a good one. It's really interesting. One of my friends, who is not a witch at all, who thinks it's all a load of rubbish, messaged me the other day and said, I don't know what it is. When I wear my moonstone, I just feel better. Is that a thing? And I was like, that's absolutely a thing, yeah. It's because you obviously have connections with moon energies and being a female and stuff. And then she said to me, but how do crystals work? And I thought, do you know, I don't know if I know the answer to that. Started it in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a simple way to sort of to explain it to your friend, I guess, is just the way that, everything carries energy in the world and in the universe. And I think partly comes down to the way that the energy field of the stone reacts with our own energy field and the surrounds as well. Like, they are brilliant holders of information and stores of energy. And yeah, I think that's probably the most basic way of summing it up, I would say. Yeah, it's fascinating.
And I think the purple one, God, what's it called? Amethyst.
Yeah.
Amethyst. I read recently amethyst vibration matches like the brain's vibration, which is why it works with your upper chakras, your crown and stuff. So it's all about different vibrational patterns, would you say?
Yeah, or like frequencies. Yeah. Yeah, and I've just loved, throughout my crystal healing course, just, learning more about the chakras and like chakra crystals and that. Like I feel like doing some practical work with, friends and family, like I feel like I've gained a more holistic, I guess, view of what crystals can do and how they can be used, both for like, the physical body and like subtle bodies and other, areas of our auric field. So it's definitely something that I want to continue, upskilling myself in and growing my knowledge of.
Is there any crystals that you don't like that really repel you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There is one, and it's actually one of my birthstones, funnily enough, but I always just get a bit of a weird vibe from it, is malachite.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's like I have heard that it has quite an intense energy, and some people, if they hold it, like they actually get like a real physical reaction from it, and they just can't work with it. But I think, and I haven't, held a piece or anything like that, but just from what I've seen of it and read of it, it doesn't resonate really with me. So I think that would probably be the one that I guess I'm not overly into.
God, I love malachite. It's just so green, and I'm obsessed with green, as you might be able to tell.
Yes.
But it's quite heavy and dense. I do have an egg over there. And also malachite, it draws energy away from other crystals. So they say you shouldn't have it in a drawer with all the other crystals because it'll suck all the energy, which is quite interesting. For me, it's hematite, actually. I just don't like it, and I don't really know why. Because it looks
Yeah, I know.
beautiful.
I feel like I have heard that a little bit with people and hematite. Like, I mean, it's definitely like the sheen and just a bit heavy as well. It's not very optimistic if it had a
No.
personality.
It's a doer, isn't it? It's a doer stone. I think it's a
Yeah.
masculine energied
Mm.
stone. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why, but it just makes me feel kind of like stagnant and perhaps a little bit greasy. Water that's left to fester or something. I don't know.
I know exactly how you feel. I mean, I have used it a bit in like protection magic and so on. Like when I've been spelling rings and things into protective talismans, I have used it in that sense. But yeah, it's definitely not a daily crystal or regular one that I use. So I definitely, feel that for sure.
Probably better for magic, maybe in spells.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's a doer, yeah. So perhaps not so much to have on you for TLC and stuff, but more of a that I've got this thing, I've got an action, this stone will get the action.
Good way to put it.
Yeah. So how do you use your crystals?
So I've got, as you can probably see, I've got a few that I wear day to day. So you won't catch me without a crystal bracelet on. This one here, this one's actually one that's a crystal that you can only find in Tasmania. It's called serpentine stitchtite. So it's a combination of two different crystals. So that one's really good for like just like general like emotional healing. Like I really love that aspect of it. So it's sort of one that I wear, I guess, like daily. On my right, so I usually switch this one out. During the day, I'll have a fire quartz crystal bracelet, which is really good for, vibrancy, action, all the things associated with fire. And so that's sort of like my day bracelet. And then this one is my angelite. So really good with connecting to spirit guides, very soothing, calming energy again, which is really good, especially like for sleep and that sort of thing. So I have used it in a couple of meditations, with spirit guides, and it's been quite good. Yeah, so those are the ones that I sort of wear. In terms of like maybe like tumbles, I might like carry some around and like in my day bag. Like my rose quartz is usually there. Like I might have my moonstone as well. If I'm, doing something where perhaps I need a bit of courage or a bit of motivation, I tend to bring my sunstone tumble because that's, really awesome, for that. So I'll have my sunstone there. And if I need to amplify the qualities of any other crystals that I'm carrying, then I've got my clear quartz because it's really good. Those are the ones that I would carry, I guess, in my bag day to day. If I was traveling, so for example, if I was on a trip or if I was traveling, for business or whatever like that, I would have a stone that's really good for travel. One of my rings is actually my engagement ring here. It's got a big garnet in the middle, and garnet I've always associated with travel, and so I turned that into a bit of a travel talisman. And so it's always good to have especially if I'm traveling or anything like that. So that's sort of another wearable sort of use for it.
There's a lot, isn't there? There's a lot to know. I often forget stuff. I learn stuff and then it pushes something else out my head.
Yeah, there is. I mean, crystals. I mean, like lots of offshoots of magic, like herbs and crystals. Like, there's just so much to soak up, and I guess you really just have to focus on the things that really resonate with you, because otherwise you get overwhelmed, right? Especially, if you're starting out in the craft.
I get overwhelmed. I've been doing it now for maybe 8 years, and I still get
Mm,
like,
yeah.
oh, I can't do this. It's too hard. I forgot this. I forgot that. Get book out and.
Mm.
Have you got any unusual ways that you use crystals?
That's a good question. Yeah, I can't think of anything unusual, like, because I use it in sort of the more traditional ways, especially like carrying it or wearing it or having it in like a little sachet or a mojo bag. And then having like the citrine out for Bridget. I can't think of any unorthodox ways that I use them. They're all sort of pretty sort of common ways of using them.
Down bra, shove them down bra.
Yeah, right. I did think of that actually.
Everybody does it. You take your bra off and all these crystals just like
You just
fall,
pop it
like
out.
scattered. I put them on my house plants.
That's actually not a weird one though, because it's becoming more of something that's being explored, like in books and podcasts. Is actually I've heard like citrine, because as a quartz crystal, is really good to promote growth in the soil, and you can even have like protective crystals like obsidian or like tourmaline as well around. So that actually is becoming increasingly more well known, I think.
Buried in my garden. That garden's covered in
Yeah.
random crystals. And I've been making a fish pond. For those who have been following me on Instagram, my kids were inspired by an episode of Bluey.
Oh,
Bluey?
yeah.
Oh my God, it's transforming my life, is Bluey. That's where I got
Mm.
all my parenting tips from. There were an episode where they made a pond in the back garden, so we started digging out this pond. So now I'm going to put crystals in it because I've got crystals in my fish tank in my house.
Mm. Nice.
So the fish benefit from the crystals. How cool is that?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, I have heard, like, especially like with cats and dogs and pets, like having crystals for them, like tucked in their bed or like on their blanket or something like that actually like helps as well. So yeah, that actually feeds into that. Well, although I'd never heard of that with fish, but I love it.
It is really cool, and it looks nice as well. Instead of gravel, just put I've got a few quartz. It's only a tiny little thing, and
Mm.
of course you've to cleanse them, aren't you? Because they sit there and they get pooed on and stuff. Are you ready to sip on something extraordinary? May I introduce the tea tonic, where every cup is crafted with care, nature's finest ingredients, and a touch of magic. The tea tonic is 100% natural and have a wide range of single leaf teas, unique blends, all handmade to order using their specially designed recipes. The tea tonic use fully compostable and recyclable packaging and can also create bespoke blends just for you. Visit theteatonic.com and receive 10% off your entire order with the affiliate code BELLWITCH. And take a moment with the magic of spiritualities with the Tea Tonic of Leeds. So tell me about cleansing them. How do you choose to cleanse them?
So I think the really good thing about selenite is it has this dual thing where it both cleanses and charges at the same time. So yeah, definitely like with my crystal bracelets or any tumbles that I've used, throughout the week, I'll just put them in the little selenite bowl and it'll do its thing and they'll be really good, in the morning. Another favorite way that I like to cleanse them is, and this is only for water safe crystals, is with water. Just running them when you're under the tap and just saying like a little affirmation just about cleansing the crystals, and then that's pretty good to go. Another way that is usually good, I don't tend to do it that often nowadays, just because a lot of crystals are very sun sensitive, is sunlight or moonlight is a safer alternative, and I will do that as well when it's a full moon, and that's a really good place to charge your crystals. Another way that is good as well, I don't do it nearly as often though, is smoke cleansing. So just getting, like a sage bundle and, just doing smoke. One that is slightly unorthodox or less common that I love doing is sound cleansing. So getting my little altar bell and just, doing a cleanse with that and just letting the vibrations sort of, cleanse the stone. It's such a brilliant way, and it's so good, if you're afraid of water, if you're afraid of sunlight, and you can't, do smoke for whatever reason. Sound is such a good way to do it.
You could even sing to them, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I do bells, like little trinket bells.
I love that.
And I do clapping. And then there's also the one where you can hold them and imagine lights and stuff coming through your palms. And if
Mm.
you're Reiki practitioner as well, you can also use Reiki to actually benefit your crystals rather than with Reiki, which I just love.
Yeah, that's really cool. And another
Yeah.
thing that just came to me, because it's something that I've been doing, throughout my course, is if you've got like an amethyst druze or cluster, setting your crystals on top of that, or even just around the crystal, provided that it's been sort of programmed to cleanse the crystals around it. It's such a great way, and you can, get a lot of cleansing done with that method too. So yeah, that's another one that I would recommend.
Because the shape of the crystal reacts the energy different, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
if it's a natural one, it kind of shoots off like a disco ball.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I love that.
And when the points, it's like a pencil, you can direct it. I don't know what eggs do. Are they more about representation of new beginnings and stuff?
I think so, because I think like a round shape has, I think, the properties of both the spherical and the triangle or something like that. It has sort of like dual properties. And definitely, like if it's an egg, so it's more like oval shaped, like that's definitely, symbolic of fertility,
Mhm.
which is really great, if you want to do like a crystal egg ritual around like Ostara. It's a really good time to do manifestations with a crystal egg. So yeah, it's been really great sort of learning about the different shapes of crystals and what they sort of mean and their properties, and yeah, it's a really great topic.
I'm after a willy crystal. I don't own a willy crystal, but
Mm.
I'm going to get one soon. It's kind of hard to display it.
Yeah, true.
People are like, what is this? Nothing. Just carry on.
Nothing at all. It's like, what are you doing with that? Well,
I know what you think. It'd be good just for goddess and god work, really.
yeah.
For the old altar.
Well, you have to let me know if you ever do end up getting one.
I'll be showing everybody on pictures like, look at this. But I'll need a yoni as well. I can't just have a willy, I'll need a yoni as well.
Yeah,
And they'll have to match. They'll have to be similar sizes. And that's really hard to find. The same, you know what I mean? It's just like one's massive and one's tiny. Oh, it's nice to geek out about crystals.
Because there are people or like friends or acquaintances that they practice witchcraft, a little bit witchy, and some of them actually don't vibe with crystals, which is totally understandable. So it's really good to actually connect and sort of chat all about them. It's really nice.
Tell you what I'm terrible for, because I've got quite a lot now. I've stopped buying them, but cleansing them, you forget, and then they end up sitting on a shelf gathering dust.
Mm.
And then, in your opinion, would you say they stop working because they do need effort and attention?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I definitely think, if you're absolutely just like not cleansing them at all or giving them any sort of maintenance, yeah, they're not going to work very effectively or at all if you've left it for too long, I'd say. But I mean, like, I think like even just doing like once a month, like if you are going to use moonlight and do it under the full moon, like I think that's more than enough. And I think it also depends on how frequently you're using certain crystals. So if it's, for example, jewelry, like the crystal bracelets that I was telling you about, I'm charging them, nightly because they're on me like almost all the time. But if it's a crystal that you're only using, once or twice, like, it's great, it's fine to charge you, every 2 weeks, every month. I guess it all just depends on the usage, really.
Yeah, I'm thinking of some I've got now on my shelf, really big ones that are just pretty that I don't really give any attention to. And it's a shame because they could be really good.
Yeah, for sure. Just to do
It's-
something little, even if it's just the clapping or something simple, that will go a long way for sure.
Do you have any moldavite?
No, I don't. It is a stone that I've been looking at and reading about. I haven't had a particular pull to it as of yet, but I have been seeing it around.
It got huge in lockdown, didn't it? I've been watching it. There's not much of it in the world, so it does get quite expensive. And last year for my birthday, I bought myself a tiny little 0.4 gram piece. And I wrapped it in a silver chain and I wear it every so often. But it is quite extreme when I wear it and I go out and I meet people. Loads of stuff materializes. So I don't sleep in it because I read that's really bad.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah, I
you'll
can imagine. Yeah, you'd have like super lucid dreaming to the point where like you might be sleepwalking or something. It's really cool that you get downloads. It might be helping you to access information from the spirit, perhaps. Maybe that's why you're getting all those downloads when you're out and about.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your magic and how you do your magic with crystals and maybe a little bit of good mental health stuff?
And this is something that you mentioned earlier in terms of making crystal elixirs. I actually have one that, as part of my course, I'm making at the moment. So I was just charging under the moonlight, and so I'm making a creativity crystal elixir. And this is where we can sort of tie into different numbers and shapes of things. So I've decided to go with 3 carnelian crystals that I just sort of set sort of on the points around the jar, because 3 is really good in terms of creativity. Just going into numerology, and a little bit of sound. I use my altar bell sort of as well, so just to send the vibrations into the elixir too. So what I'm planning to do with it is in the morning I'm going to collect it, I'm going to drink some of it, I'm going to bottle some, stick it in the fridge, because I know that if you don't put any preservatives like alcohol or anything in it to make it last longer, you can refrigerate it for up to 2 weeks and sort of consume it within that time. But otherwise, yeah, if you are using alcohol, it'll last a lot longer than that. But I'm sort of preferring the no preservative approach. So yeah, I'll definitely drink some in the morning, store some for later, because I'm actually working on a poetry manuscript at the moment. So that's why I decided to do a creativity elixir. But you can do it for a whole range of things, whether it's for healing. So if you wanted to do one, if you have like an ailment or something like that, you could do amethyst. Would be really good for that. And 6 is a number it's good for. It's associated with health and harmony. So you could definitely put 3 of the amethyst crystals around the elixir and sort of create it for that. But you can create it for all sorts of things that you're trying to manifest. But definitely in the context of healing, amethyst would be really good there. I know sometimes you might think that having the crystals in the water and in direct contact with it might release the energies of the crystals into the water a little bit better. I guess for that, though, you would just have to be careful that with whatever crystal you're using, toxins don't actually leach into the water. So you'd have to be quite careful with that. Like quartz is quite safe. So if you're using, any rose quartz, clear, citrine, those would all be fine, if you wanted to place it directly in the water. But otherwise, maybe with some other crystals, yeah, just look them up and make sure that it's fine. Otherwise, you can just place them around the glass. So that's one way that I use crystals. And on the healing side as well.
Does it work as well, the crystal not touching the water, do you think?
Yeah, it'd actually be pretty interesting to experiment with both and sort of do them both at the same time and then sort of see, or maybe with the exact same crystals and see what the effect is, after consuming, like a group A and group B sort of thing.
Yeah.
Logically, submerging the crystals in the water, I mean, with having that direct contact, I would say there would be more of an effect doing that. And that is how up until doing the course, is how I have done my crystal elixirs in the past. But I think, yeah, if you're worried about, the safety and everything like that, best protocol is just to sit them around, the glass jar or the bottle, whatever you're using for the elixir. So
yeah, I'm always in 2 minds about it, if it does or not. I do put, again, it's always quartz. Quartz is safe for most things because it's just a hardened glass, really, isn't it?
yeah,
Like
exactly.
a naturally made hardened glass. So you can't go wrong with them.
Mm.
And I do drink quartz in plastic water bottles most days. But tiger's eye surprises me quite a lot because that's got the shine in it. What is it now? It's asbestos, isn't it? The shine in tiger's eye, made of asbestos. So it's really dodgy to buy raw tiger's eye, I think. I think it's got to be sealed to be polished.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. You probably need to get it in like a bit of almost like a dish or something with a glass encasing where you can display it but not directly touch it.
it is beautiful because it's the shine.
Mm.
But I mean, I only found that out maybe a year ago, and I use tiger's eye a lot. It's such a good grounding one, isn't it? And it's an earthly chakra, so it works to keep me from flying off too much when I'm researching.
Yeah, that would be a good one to have for sure.
Because for the root chakra. Yeah, so do your research, and if you think you want to put something in water, do good research if you're going to consume it or add it to plants or
Yeah,
whatnot.
exactly. Definitely do your homework.
So where do you buy them from then? Have you got special places?
Yeah, so I'm quite lucky that here in Sydney we do have quite a few really good crystal shops. Yeah, and then they are quite close to me as well, so it's not. Yeah, it's not too far for me to get out to them, and it's always such a good vibe, going out and feeling a good vibe. And it's funny because every crystal store is different, right? You're not going to vibe with each and every one of them, but I do feel quite grateful that pretty much all the ones that are sort of around me, I really vibe with them. And I always feel like I'm walking out with treasures, every time I visit. Yeah, so quite lucky there. I do buy some of them online. Primarily, and this is a shout out to one of my favourite witches, Kirsty. She lives in Victoria. She's got a fabulous witchy business, and she sells really high grade quality crystals. The fire quartz bracelet that I mentioned earlier is where I got it from her. So yeah, I just love shopping with her, and she's been in the crystal business for a long time before transitioning more into the witchy stuff. It's such a pleasure buying crystals from her. So yeah, feel very lucky where I am.
And what's the little business called?
It's called Witch and Co. Yeah, it's such a beautiful online shop. She has been opening sort of just like a room with some of her wares sort of in Victoria for people, local witches to sort of have a look and browse and things. Yeah, but it's a lovely online store, and she does blog posts as well on the website, and she's such a wealth of knowledge and so lovely. So shout out Kirsty if you're listening.
And I'll link the shop in the show notes so people
Yeah,
can
please
find
do.
her. So does Kirsty know the journey of the crystal, where it comes from? And because I think that's becoming really important in terms of the good vibrations within the crystal, how the mind and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. No, she's an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes, to that end to end sort of knowledge of the journey. And, she definitely takes pride in, where she's sourcing the crystals, making sure that they're ethically sourced too, that, they're high quality, and especially for depending on how they're going to be used. So she really thinks about, the end-to-end process, including, when it reaches, the customer or the witch. And, yeah, just how thoughtful and diligent she is, like that part of the reason why I keep going back and back, aside from her being a good friend, of course.
Ah, yeah, totally. Support your local witch biz. It is important though, and I think it's becoming more present in today's society about how we shop and where stuff comes from. Like,
Mm.
don't buy your crystals from Wish or Temu
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely
some
not.
little kids will have been paid a penny an hour to stand in dirty water and it's
Yeah,
not good.
it's horrible.
Are there any more crystals you can tell us about from your native land of Australia?
Yeah, the one that I mentioned, so this one I'm wearing, the serpentine stitch type, yeah, that is native to Tasmania. Opals can be found in quite a few places, but Australia is very well known for opal. Yeah, I don't think there are one. I mean, apart from this Tassie one, I don't really know of others that are just Australian. Yeah, that'd definitely be something for me to look up for. Up. So food for thought.
What do you know what opal does? I've never worked with opal.
I think, yeah, I mean, there's different types of opal. Like, I know, like, pink opal's got that beautiful, that pink sort of colour is quite good, which, and a lot of pink crystals, it's good for, like, emotional healing, self-love, that sort of thing. I think, at least the way that I sort of feel with this opal crescent moon necklace pendant that I have, just with the sheen, like, I feel like a strong sense of clarity when I wear it and when I look at it. And I think that is partly down to the actual look and the aesthetic of it. And it sort of ties into what we were talking about some of the moon related crystals. And clear quartz is also one that's associated with the moon too. And that's really good for clarity. So I think, clarity and universal connection are some of the things that I connect with opal.
This is a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I think the moon is really overrated.
Really?
Controversy. I'm just such a solar powered witch. I mean, the moon seriously triggers my emotions anyway. I always know when it's a full moon. I
Yeah.
much prefer a new moon to a full moon. I think the full moon is just not for me at all, and I genuinely hide from it.
And that's really understandable because, the moon really affects us all in such powerful ways. And, it can be very emotionally overwhelming for some people. But I love that you talked about the fact that you're more of a solar witch because that's something that I'm getting more and more into. And, like, I know that, yeah, there are different correspondences or different types of magic that's great to work, at certain times of the day, be it like sunrise, noon, and sunset. So I'd love to hear, I guess, your experience into the solar cycles and how you use them in your craft.
I mean, it's hard being a solar witch in UK because there ain't
Mm,
much. I love the summer. I love the spring and summer for that reason because being within the sun, it alters me dramatically.
yeah.
And the phases of the sun go through a day, whereas the phases of the moon go through a month. So it's very masculine energy, which means fast paced, active, problem solving, ambition. It really does work well with my soul and appeals to my spirit, I guess. I want to be out in it all the time. And there's the warmth. I don't like being cold.
I'm the same.
Well, you live in Australia, you're so lucky.
I know, I do feel quite lucky, yeah, definitely in that respect. Because in terms of solar magic, I was telling you about that 5-day spell where it was just like non-stop sun, and I was just like, I'm just gonna, sleep out here for a while because yeah, it's just lovely. I definitely have been working more and more with the sun in my practice. It's only been a rather recent thing where when I attended this talk by this fabulous Australian witch called Stacey DeMarco, and she does like some seasonal lunar diaries. She did a whole free talk on solar magic, so it was really great to sort of soak up that knowledge and then try to delve into it more with my own practice. Yeah.
Oh, I bet that were a good talk.
Yeah, she's an absolute natural and, such an experienced witch when it comes to the craft and has a wealth of knowledge. And yeah, she's done quite a few talks this year actually that I've been to. Like she did one about how to use like her seasonal diary and sort of working, with different energies like the moon and the sun. She's released a new oracle deck actually to do with the sun. I think it's called Queen of the Sun. And it's sort of like the sister to, she's got like a moon oracle deck. So I sort of love that sort of holistic approach that she has, just like with her works in general. So yeah, so big shout out there to Stacey.
Oh my God, I need to buy it. I'm going to buy it.
Yes, you should.
I'm going to buy it. I need
Yeah,
it because I need another oracle deck. That's why.
yeah, absolutely. Out of like 100 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of oracle decks, actually, I do have one with me because I thought I might show you. So I'm not
Oh.
sure if you've heard of a witchy author called Aaron Murphy Hiscock. Yeah, so she's known as the Green Witch, and she actually wrote a book called The Green Witch, and this oracle deck is, I think, like the companion to that book, and it's all about, natural magic. So it's got like, seasonal cards, it's got crystals, it's got herbs, it's got animals. I love everything about it. It's just that natural magic aspect. I actually got a card here to show you. So this is chamomile. Gentleness, relaxation, and sleep. I'm actually looking to plant some of that in my spring garden, but I've just been using it. I do like a daily pull, at my altar, which is like my bedside table pretty much. And it's just a beautiful way to connect in with my witchcraft practice every day, just every morning. So yeah, it's a beautiful deck. So if anyone wants to get that, I highly recommend.
Is there a set of books, isn't there? Is the Green Witch and then Kitchen Witch?
Yeah, and then the
Is it?
house
Is it the
witch.
same?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, the
I know
house
these
witch and the green
books.
witch, they're usually sold as a set, or like you can buy them, with the two of them together, which is great. So, she also has a really brilliant book called Spellcrafting. So that's actually about the mechanics of spellcrafting. So, what is a spell? How can you raise energy? Like, what are the different methods? How can you troubleshoot a spell if it hasn't been effective? It's just it's a sciencey sort of book, and I love it because it's sort of grounded in that real realism, which I think is a great sort of compliment to have to, most of the witchy books that you would see. Yeah, she's one of my absolute favourite authors, Aaron Murphy Hiscock.
Nice. I mean, I have a lot of books. It is a problem, but when you're a witch, I think reading.
It is a problem, but it also isn't a problem.
Yeah. Like where to put them is the problem, not reading them.
Exactly.
Have you got any books you can recommend for crystals and crystal magic and stuff?
Yeah, so definitely for people that are starting off in the witchcraft practice, I'd recommend a book by Lisa Chamberlain. It's sort of in her Mystic Library series. It's just a beautiful little book, and it's called Wicca, crystal magic. And it just delves into, I think, like the 12 or 13 sort of most commonly used crystals, a bit of sort of like lore and history into crystals and how they've formed and that sort of thing. So you get a bit of a sciencey background as well. And then just like a tiny little grimoire section of little crystal spells you can try. So that one, yeah, is definitely one that I would recommend, especially to anyone that's sort of starting off with crystal magic and spellcraft. The other ones that I'm thinking of, like, they're not crystal specific. Like, there is a good book called Wikipedia. You might have seen
Yes, I
that
know
book.
that
Yeah,
one.
that book, yeah, is great, and it's got like a good little section on crystals as well. A little bit of an encyclopedia. So it's really good, yeah, for people that sort of, yeah, they don't know many crystals and sort of want to expand their knowledge about different ones, and so that one's really good. Those are the two that sort of come to mind in terms of crystals more specifically.
The Crystal Bible as well, it's old school by
Mm.
Judy Hall. Got it right here actually from library. I'm just eyeballing it now. Have you been into crystals a long time before witchcraft, or were they about the same time, do you think?
I mean, I always sort of grew up loving them. I got my first set of crystals from mum when I was, really young, and sort of always loved, if I was on like, a trip or in the forest or somewhere and there were rocks around, like I'd always want to like inspect them and sort of put my hand on them and things. So I've always sort of had that love. But then I hadn't really thought about them for a while, and then getting into witchcraft actually rekindled that passion, that sort of deep-seated love that I have for them. So that's definitely, one of the reasons like I'm really grateful, for the craft is, rekindling that passion for crystals. And now I'm doing a crystal healing course, and if all goes well, hopefully start practicing as a healer. And yeah,
Yeah, like you say, kids like treasure. I mean, my two kids have boxes of random junk and treasure and crystals all over the bedroom. And when I was a kid, because my mum was into all tarot and oracle, and she was a psychic medium. So she
mm,
had a select few crystals, that I wasn't allowed to touch. I couldn't, not to mess with.
yeah,
She had this tiny little amethyst, and I've still got it. And I used to pinch it and put it in my doll's house, like as a centerpiece for the
yeah.
dollies. And she used to get so cross at me, and I think back now and go, "Well, that's a shame because I looked after it. I wasn't kicking it around like a football. I knew it was precious, and it obviously helped me be okay mentally because I always wanted it, but she used to get really like, 'Don't touch my crystals.'"
There are certain crystals where I'm like I've got this beautiful rose quartz chunk, which I got from Kirsty, on my altar, and that's one of the crystals where I'm just like, don't touch it. It is sacred. um,
It's sacred.
sacred. Yeah, but I mean, with most others though, I'm pretty chill. Like I'm not constantly on my husband or my cat Percy about it. But it's really funny as well though, because crystal grids are sort of another way that I use crystals in my craft. Like I've currently got in this room in the study, I've got like a little abundance grid with like green fluorite, some tangerine quartz, and some smoky quartz as well, and sort of like a cedar light pattern. But it's funny because I had to build one as part of my course, and I was just thinking, like, where am I going to put this where Percy, my cat, is like not going to like start batting the crystals away? And
Oh,
yeah, and I figured out a solution where I put it in the living room, but when I'm not in the room or like out, I've got like a cushion that I can sort of like put as a bit of a barricade so that he won't actually touch it. So it was a bit of a workaround. But then I would remove it as soon as I got home or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting having pets around, and but they see it as a toy, but I feel like they can also feel the energy in a way, and they want to play with it.
cat's looking at you like, "Is that a challenge, mother?
Yes, exactly.
Can I touch it now? Can I touch it now? Can I touch it now? Oh, go on then, go on, touch it."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I gotta say though, in general, with my main altar, Percy's pretty good. Like, I do have like a little cup of water that I do, as representative of the water element, and he will daintily sort of just like drink from that, but he won't touch anything else.
Oh,
And I just
that's
got
so
little like
cute.
yeah, and I've got like little moonstone chips in it as well, so it's a bit of a crystal water, and he just loves it. Even though he's got like his normal bowl just like in the kitchen, he's like, I'm going to drink this water. Yeah, it's great, but he just doesn't touch anything else. He's just such a good boy. I think he really senses the magic.
Witch's cat, you see, the know.
I've actually been using the whiskers that Percy's been shedding around the place. I've been using that in Magick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because whiskers they're a really good symbol of both protection and good luck. And so I was crafting like a witchy protection bottle for a friend of mine, and I just popped a little whisker in there just to amplify. So I love that he really is my familiar in that sense. Yeah,
Oh.
it's great.
Reason 528 why I want a cat. I can use the whiskers in my magic.
You could fill a whole encyclopedia of reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned when you were a kid and you used to collect rocks and stuff.
Mm.
Because rocks, I think, are very similar to crystals and would work as well because the earth created them. So you
Yeah.
don't have to have crystals as a witch. You could just use pebbles that you found.
Absolutely, yeah. And you could even use, like, they're not rocks per se, but you could use, like, seashells, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, they're really tied, to the water element, to the earth. So I feel like definitely, yeah, just use whatever you've got at your disposal. If you're tight on money and you can't get crystal for a reason, yeah, just collect, pebbles from the beach or seashells or just other sort of earth related rocky sort of things, and you can use them because be able to put your hand on the rock, whatever, sort of feel and vibe with the energy and sort of build the correspondence from there. So it doesn't have to be a crystal from a crystal shop. Yeah, just use what you have.
It's hard not to get sucked in by the bling, I must admit.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I mean, every time like I walk in a crystal shop, I'm like, go to myself, be good. You've got loads. You've got enough. Don't get more. It's fine.
Nice one. Well, I think we've had a really good conversation here.
Yes.
Do you want to give yourself a little plug, Genna? Where can we find you?
So yeah, if you want to, I guess, just delve more into my witchy life and the everyday magic that I do, you can follow me on Instagram at Rose Cauldron Magic with a K at the end. Yeah, and you'll be able to find just all sorts of little witchy things, herb spotlights, Sabbath related content, like other little tidbits here and there. You'll see some oracle draws every now and again too, and that'll be the best way to sort of connect and find me.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute ball. It's brightened up my murky, rainy morning.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that, and it's definitely given me lots of food for thought. Feel very inspired and witchy. Thank you so much again for having me on.
You have been listening to the Bell Witch podcast, created with love and magic by me, Swailes, the friendly green witch. I love to hear from you, and I absolutely love to celebrate you. If you have a podcast or a business, a witchy business, a pagan related topic you love to talk about, you can reach me on the Bell Witch podcast at yahoo.com. Send me a trailer and I will absolutely play it, because there is magic in sharing audiences amongst podcasts. Music by Jeff Harvey of Pixabay. The official Bell Witch photographer is the lovely Beverly Thornton. Thank you so much for choosing the Bell Witch podcast to fill your ears. Stay magical, witches.
We are Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck.
We're a couple of Canadian chicks who are fascinated by freaky shit, so join us as we fall down numerous rabbit holes.
Numerous, so very many rabbit holes. Fortune telling. We talk true crime, cryptids, haunted AF stuff, and much, much more.
There are definitely some movie tangents in there too, because we love our horror movie chat.